Live on a First Friday Miracle edition of Cleveland Browns Daily, Merely Bo, the great Z, rested, refreshed, pampered, probably a butler service in Southern California. What else does he need? Did you get a schwitz in this morning? Get a massage, perhaps?
I'm in a foul mood.
Not me.
I'm in a foul mood.
Come on.
Had a great night. Went to Mr. Chow's, thanks to your recommendation yesterday. It was
very good.
Delightful. What a machine that place is. Yeah. I mean, they crank the food out so fast. We got to see the guy makes the slap noodles, which is always fun. Some good soup dumplings. It was a delightful meal. Miss K is coming out on Thursday. I went with my buddy Novak.
Oh, okay. I thought that was going to be a Miss K one. Oh, okay, yeah. So you guys went last night to Miss. That was very good. Yeah, that place has been like a place for 30 years.
Yes. Yeah.
Maybe more, but definitely that long. It's been like. Did you see any famous people other than yourself in the mirror?
I'm not sure. There were people who looked like they were famous, but I wasn't sure who they were, so I don't know.
It's hard to know anymore.
There was a lot of people that were peacocking around. I can tell you that.
There's always a lot of peacocking. So the last time I was there was with the blonde. It was, good Lord, 15 years ago. It was my 30th birthday. We did a Lakers game and then stayed down there and went there. And there was paparazzi everywhere because this was before Instagram. You know,
sure.
So you'd find the stuff on the TMZ, or do you remember Perez Hilton?
Of course, TMZ,
like those type of things, or else like Us Magazine or People or National Enquirer, and so it was all about finding snapshots of people. And the night we went there, Beverly D'Angelo was there with Al Pacino, and who else was there? Christina Applegate. Oddly enough, that was the group of the people that were there, and the cameras were popping, baby.
I love it. The cameras were not popping last night on a Tuesday, but it was a great meal. And then we went over to
everybody's got
everybody's got their own phones, right? We went over to, I think it's like Steak 48 or something like that, was around the corner, and had a few cocktails at the bar. It was great scene. That place was bumping till like midnight on a Tuesday, which is you love to see it
every day.
So then I came home. I was having a great time. Come back. Having a great slumber,
nice sleep,
deep sleep, and at 6:57, I hear what sounds like people screaming on megaphones right outside my room, and I heard that because it turns out that's exactly what was happening. There were people walking around in circles in the circle driveway entrance to this hotel, screaming into their megaphones.
That's right.
And I was like, got out of bed, looked. I'm like, what is going on? I am now convinced that all hotel rooms need to come with blow darts, so that I could have stopped this problem from my balcony.
Yep.
So I go back into the room. I call the front desk, and I'm like, what's the deal? Like, you got. Yeah. I'm sure you're aware of this. It's happening right outside of literally right outside the front desk. And they said, "Oh yes, we're very aware." And I said, "Well, can we do something about it?"
Step
and they were like,
one,
"No."
aware. Step two, action.
Do some action. Yeah, and they're like, "No, we can't do anything about it." They're like, "There's some union workers at the hotel who are on strike, and they're trying to send a message to management." I said,
"Message sent."
I don't need to be like, it's almost like I was a bystander in the Red Wedding. You know what I mean? Like,
merely a pawn.
Right.
Your phone call was the action that they were hoping for.
Totally. And they're like, well, you if you want, you can file a complaint with the manager. I'm like, no, I just want to go back to bed. I want people to stop screaming on megaphones outside my room. So they said they can't do anything about it. They're like, well, they haven't been here in like 5 days, so we were surprised that they were here today. I was like, well, are they going to be here tomorrow? We don't know.
Probably. They know we're here.
Yes.
So
I'm assuming.
I thought in my mind, I was like, before I got out of bed to really look and then make the phone call, I'm like, in my mind, I feel like in any second I'm going to hear John Frain's voice, and then I'm going to hear silence again. That's how I thought it was going to go.
No.
And it didn't. I think we were all – I can't imagine. Were people talking about it in the breakfast room?
I mean, so, Bo.
Yeah.
I'm on the other side of the building. I have no idea what's going on.
You got nothing. Yeah.
So I tried to I'm trying to figure out the routine. I think I've got it figured out, but yet I'm still behind when I wake up. Like I get up around 6:45, 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
Okay, trying to stay on some kind of clock here. 7:02, phone rings. It's Segura. I'm like, well, this can't be good because there's no way he should be awake right now.
You're calling him to commiserate at 7:02?
Yeah, I was like, do you hear this? Like, what is going on?
And I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, what do you mean you don't hear it? I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Then I had to go
like,
outside.
There is nothing. I hear
and
a
put it on
construction
speakerphone
crane.
so that he could hear it. And he's like, then he just started laughing.
I was like, well, that sounds like it's a problem.
Well,
I told you, just go downstairs, have a little breakfast.
I said to the guy when I was like, can you guys go do something? I said, people pay a lot of money to stay at hotels to sleep. Like that is what you have.
That's part of it.
You're renting a place to sleep on the road. That is fundamentally the essence of a hotel.
Yep.
And I said, now we can't sleep. And he goes, well, that's why they're doing it. I said,
this is like a curb episode.
okay. How about we stop them? They said, well, that's why it's effective. And I'm like, I don't think you guys get it. And then I was like, this is private property. You have the right to remove them, I would imagine. Sure. Noise statutes, and nothing. So finally about it went until 8.
I mean, I came downstairs to breakfast. I mean, there was a guard at every door.
By 8 o'clock.
What am I walking
They got bored
into?
and they walked away.
I'm walking down the hall, the doors, it's out, I'm in the meal room. You can hear,
I was on the balcony,
like,
and my video I
going
sent
on?
you guys, I was like,
Yeah.
I think at one point I'm like, can you guys just shut up? Okay.
Right, we
You've
get
already
it.
won. You've done it. You've won. There's nobody
I
on
called
this
the front
side of the
desk.
hotel who could possibly be asleep any longer.
Now,
I mean, they were screaming, blah, 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 blah. Over. I'm like, what is going on?
here's the good news, though. The stated goal of this trip was to spend 6 days, 7 nights, 7 days, getting you guys on West Coast clock. That was critical.
What day are we on?
No,
So
we
that's
got
why
you
you're
7
there.
nights,
You're there is to get on West Coast clock. So those protesters waking you up at 7 o'clock a.m. Pacific, they are just keeping you on the right clock for the game. That's all that's about.
And in all
That's
fairness,
really when you- that's 10 o'clock.
everybody was
10 o'clock our
everybody was
time. So
everybody was awake down with the team.
I haven't
like,
slept past
it's-
7:30 here anyway, but I would have liked to have woken up of my own volition.
well, there is
I mean-
difference in waking up on your own versus waking up to people yelling. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Everything started this morning. Meeting started at 7:30, so everybody was awake. I came downstairs. I'm like,
Well,
oh,
if
it's
they were
business as
planning on
usual.
sleeping till 7:15 and walking down there, they were rudely awakened.
That didn't happen.
No, and then I have also on my hall.
No, Ziger, because that would mean you're going to be late. If you're early, you're on time.
You're not
I
early
used
or
to
late.
hate that, by the way. I had a
Me
coach.
too.
I know.
Mariner
I
guy.
know
I was
you
having a
both do.
conversation.
I don't-
Like,
but
just tell me what
that's
time you
the
want me to
rule.
be there, and
You
that's
just
when
tell
I'll
me.
be there.
I'm never late for anything. Just tell me
Yeah.
the time. If
you
you
want-
pick it.
is this mine?
If you want me there, if we're having dinner, and you want to start at 7, then just tell me 7. I'll be there. But if you want me there at 6:45, then say 6:45. You just tell me the time.
Mariner time.
I'm working
High
for
school
you.
Basketball coach. It's
Be
ridiculous.
simple. On time is 5 minutes
You gotta
early.
be there
No,
15 minutes early. No.
not. Just say practice starts at 2:55. Fine, solved.
Easy.
Can't stand that. Can't stand
Yeah,
it.
don't say 3 and then hold it to 2:55. Just come out and say it. What's the big deal? Let's have some
How
transparency.
how are we doing, fellas? It's a first Friday. How many
Oh,
are you
by the
guys
way,
halfway home?
No. Can I
No.
also? No, we're not even close. Can I also tell you that on my floor, Gibby, you'll get a kick out of this. There's an individual who has been residing in the hotel for months.
Oh, squatter.
No,
I don't.
Not at that. Not at that.
It doesn't fit.
establishment.
Doesn't fit the traditional squatter
Correct, but for lack of
motif. This
Yeah.
is somebody who has got plenty of disposable income and is choosing to have maid service every day. But this individual whose door happens to be directly across the hall from me has a Pomeranian,
Okay.
what?
and it likes to yap.
Oh, mama.
So throughout the day, I'm hearing nighttime. So I got protesters on one side, a Pomeranian. With show papers
Does it-
on the
I was
other.
gonna say,
It
does
says
he have
show- with-
papers?
With show papers.
Not
Yeah.
me, Bishop.
Can't be boarded.
No, can't be bored. It's a show dog with show papers. Yeah. I mean, so that's what's going on with me.
Get to Ralph's. That'll make you feel
I think
better.
ever since I stepped off of the hallowed grounds of the establishment across the street, that it's been downhill for me. And I peaked at Monday from the hours of 1 to 5.
Yeah.
And now
It's all downhill from here. Yeah. Well, hopefully it trends
I can't
uphill.
imagine. I can't wait for sweet Miss K, who has to get up very early every morning for work, who is so looking forward to coming out here and being able to sleep in. If these people go out there and pull it, she's already texted. She's like, they better not do that when I'm there. I said, well,
Well, Miss K, I'm sorry.
I said, we don't control it, and apparently the hotel doesn't care
We're
at
at their
all.
beck and call, sweetheart. Hey,
Right.
The good news for Miss K, though, is even if it is 7, that's 10 here.
Sure.
So she'll get a win. She's going to get a win regardless.
Feels like a win.
Yeah. Going to get a little bit of a dub there. So today's a work day, finally. You guys going to actually do
Yes.
something out there? Is the team going to do
Wow.
something? What are we doing?
Yep.
Finally got work?
Yeah. I will actually depart the show 30 minutes early. I got to go over to UCLA and get set up. We have podium and pre-practice pressers.
Oh,
so
baby.
that'll be at 3:30 Eastern time today that Kevin Stefanski will talk. Players at 3:45, and the team will hit the field at 4:30, 4:40-ish Eastern time.
Eastern.
Yeah, this is a fascinating thing. Have you guys ever been part of a team? I mean, you guys have been with the team for a while, Z longer than anybody. Have you ever been part of a team that's done something like this?
No, in fact, I haven't met a player yet that has on our team.
Okay. So this is abnormal even by NFL standards
Yeah.
to stay West
Yes.
Coast. Like I've seen the West Coast teams stay East because I think
Yep.
Yep.
and I always felt like when I grew up where I did out West and then when I would go East, that was the far bigger adjustment versus living in the East and going West. Like we go to California every year, it's nothing to get on clock. Easy. So simple. Stay up late first day and you're set. The other way, I think it's a little bit harder. It's rare to see a team go West and stay.
Yes.
Yeah, I would agree. It is very, very different. It's got its own set of challenges, that's for sure. However, I went to the UCLA complex yesterday. Pretty ridiculous,
Yeah.
as you would imagine.
It's Westwood, baby.
Well, how about this? So Saturday night when in Denver, Clay and I hit up an Avalanche game.
Oh, that's fun.
Got tickets for almost nothing, and right at center ice. It was crazy. It was good.
They do all the small things, don't they?
Yep.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it was awesome. Tomorrow night, buddy, can I interest you in UCLA hoops at Pauley?
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah,
You're going to
That's
go?
fun.
I think I'm gonna go.
Who are they?
gotta go.
It's like UC Riverside or something.
Doesn't matter. Game of
By the way-
Poly? Come on.
Yeah.
Did you know that their football field abuts Bel Air Country Club?
I knew it was all in the same vicinity. I don't know that I'm trying to think. I've been to the campus, and I've obviously been to the Rose Bowl. Those are two very, very different places. You see the challenges, though, of like them playing at the Rose Bowl. While it's an iconic venue, it's a hike from campus.
This is you cannot come here to this town the way that we are without a vehicle. LA is
a car town.
completely unnavigable, dependent on Ubers.
Photo Jesus and Lily walked 4 miles yesterday. They went to the tar pits. They
So
walked.
La Brea Tar Pits.
Yeah. They said it was 4 miles. I go, I hope you did an extra lap for me.
That sounds
Yeah, that's a hike.
Sounds like
No,
Yeah.
you need a car. It's a car town. You got to.
Yes.
And then you're at your own control. Yeah, you guys should. Why don't you guys rent cars with your monster per diems? Get yourself a nice, maybe something foreign, maybe a nice convertible.
Yeah, we really could have done
I
something
got
special.
into a fight with an Uber driver last night.
Oh, for God's sakes! Get yourself
No.
a two-door foreign car. Drive up the PCH. Head on up to Santa Barbara. You got time.
We took the
some
crew
wine.
over to Venice Beach. The great Nick Shook gave me some recommendations.
Nick Shook took you to Venice Beach. That's perfect.
Yeah,
I love it.
We gave me some great recommendations for a few places. I said, "Look,
Yeah.
I don't need the touristy stuff. Give me good food. Give me
Yeah.
best places. 25-minute ride, no big deal." I ordered an Uber XL. There's 6 of us. Guy shows up in a Suburban. He goes, "I can only take 5." I go, "You've got to be kidding me." I go, "Why?"
Bucket
I go,
seats.
"It's 6 people. An Uber XL seats 6." No, I can only do 5.
What
I'm
was
like-
his reason?
He just said, he goes, I can only take 5. He was, I mean.
Well, he's not going to mess around. There's other customers. He's not worried about you, Gibbe. But
Yep,
I'm just
exactly.
curious why you couldn't put 6 in a Suburban.
Correct.
Even in
I
a-
could have fit 7 in the Suburban.
Yeah, even in a bucket seat, second row captain seat situation, you're still a guy up
Yes.
front, 2 in the captains and 3 in the back.
Yep.
You're safe, pal.
Had to get a second Uber.
Oh,
Not ideal.
gosh, that's brutal.
So,
That's
but
no good.
a good time was had by all. Nice little dinner. Went to the ocean.
Yeah.
So,
Did you pump some iron where Arnold pumped iron?
nah, I'm good.
That would have been nice.
Yeah,
Do a little-
it was
do a little
dark at that. It was dark by that point, but
It feels like we played a game, and this is from the perspective back home. It feels to me like we played a game 7 weeks ago. It feels like you guys have been there for a week already. And we
yeah,
are
I
going to
would
have our
second
first
that.
practice tonight.
yes, yes. And by the time the team comes off the practice field, it's going to be 6:30 back home. 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there you go. And this is good. This will be a fascinating thing. What are you looking forward to hearing from Coach Day? What are we looking for? Injury report, right?
I just want to know who's playing quarterback for the Cleveland Browns.
You think you get that today, knowing him? Probably not.
I feel like you should.
The last
I bet
couple
Thursday.
times he's
I bet
been
you do
pretty
Thursday.
He's
open
been pretty
on
straightforward with
Wednesday.
it on Wednesdays lately.
Yeah, that's true. He did it with DTR, so maybe you'll get that in the opening statement.
Right.
Yeah.
DTR's in protocol. We're going to start whomever at quarterback.
Has Joe Flacco been activated yet?
He's still on our practice squad.
But, like,
Correct.
to the active.
No, he's
No,
on the
but-
practice squad.
But it's like the
When do they
PJ
have to do
Walker
that?
thing from a few
They
weeks ago.
they elevate on I think it's on Saturday.
Oh, so
but
he
my
could stay
guess
there.
is my guess is you just go ahead and put him
That's what
on
I'm-
53.
Yeah, like let's just move it along.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
It is interesting because what I found for me personally, and then I don't know if it affected the way that we came out in the game. I don't know if the players felt the same, but I felt so kind of disconnected from the routine of the NFL week and season that allows you to everything to kind of you feel the momentum and everything building and crescendoing
Yeah.
into Sunday, and I didn't have that at all last week. You didn't feel any of that, and not being around the building. I certainly don't feel that out here. Like, it does not feel like we're out
No.
here on a. I don't know. I just think it's very different.
Yes.
It's almost like a training camp, a second training camp almost. Kind of.
Kind of.
I mean, yeah, it's very strange. It'd be interesting to see if it works. I guess, will the results be the only way of knowing if it works? I don't know that this would be the reason you won or lost. You can't. I don't
even
like doing
know.
that, but
yeah. I would say if we don't go down 14-0 early in this game, that'll be the first road game that we've done that, and
that's a win.
since Seattle. So that would feel like a win.
maybe this will be the new norm. Like every away game, you just go for the week.
Stop it. Even
You got to get on
when
the
you
clock
say
in
things
Cincinnati.
when you say things that unite Gibbe and I
then we know it's a bridge too far.
100%
By the
purely,
way,
you know that you're wrong.
By the way, that's twice in a week we've been on a united front.
Yeah,
You guys have, yeah.
Look out. That's what
a lot
that's
going
team
on.
bonding. That's why they're doing this. Team
So
bonding.
we're at UCLA today. You're at
We
their
are.
practice facility.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah, it's beautiful. A couple fields. Their indoor stuff is. I mean, it was really cool. It was cool to get a tour yesterday and check some things out in advance of today. So
Martin Drummond is the athletic director at UCLA. He's a longtime Ohio State lieutenant for Gene Smith.
Oh,
And
really?
He's the AD out there. Great guy. Really
Okay.
great guy. So, yeah, if you see him, he's as good as it gets. I'm guessing you will. I'm guessing he'll be bouncing around over the next couple of days. I'm sure he had a lot to do with the fact that you're using UCLA as the practice place. So, all right, so you have that to look forward to. You're going to get your coach today around 3:30 our time, so it'll be during the next level, and then practice around 4:40 is the way
Yep.
that sets up. So, all right, there you go. Those are your hot topics of the day, presented by Vivid Seats, official fan experience partner of your Cleveland Browns. Coming up next, we will meet the Los Angeles Rams, among other things. We're off and running on a First Friday. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. OBM, preferred provider of copiers and document services for your Cleveland Browns. Can tackle any size office. Call 216-485-2000 or visit ohiobusinessmachines.com. It is time to meet the Los Angeles Rams. Their head coach is Sean McVay. He is 65-44 overall. Of course, they won Super Bowl just a couple of years back. 2017 AP NFL Coach of the Year, the youngest coach to win the Super Bowl at age 36 and to reach a Super Bowl at age 33. Two-time NFC champion. They are a team that I wasn't sure what to make of them this year. I still don't know, but they looked damn good last time out, Z's. The Rams lead the series 13-11. They've won the last 3 times. The Browns have not won against the Rams since 2007 when they would have been in St. Louis. Of course, the Rams won here 20-13 on Sunday Night Football, September 22nd of 2019. As I mentioned, they beat the Cardinals the last time out, 35-14. For more on the Rams, we turn to Dr. Z.
All right, folks. This is an LA Rams team that it's strange. You look at their one-loss record this season. If they could only play in the NFC West, they'd be pretty darn good, it turns out. That's where they have really they've thrived this year. The Rams in division, if you go and take through a quick trip through their schedule, they are 4-1 against the NFC West, the only loss coming to the 49ers. That means, doing the quick math, that they are 1-5 against everybody who's not in the NFC West, and their lone win outside of the division came in Week 4, overtime win over the Colts, 29-23. Since then, they have lost every single game outside of the division. Now, they have won 2 in a row. Guess what? Because they played 2 of them in a row in the division. Matt Stafford coming off of his best game of the year with the 4 touchdowns. He is you've been a huge fan of his for years.
Yeah.
He can absolutely sling the pill. So The Browns defense, they need to be ready. He's not going to run around like Russell Wilson, but still knows how to navigate the pocket very effectively. They have a very good young running back in Kyron Williams. They've got good receivers. Tutu Atwell's kind of the game breaker, high yards per catch, run after the catch, vertical speed. They've got Cooper Kupp, who's, I think, not quite 100% back. I think that's probably fair to say. And then they've got Puka Nacua, who's big, strong, excellent in the run game. They've got a tight end, Tyler Higbee, who caught 2 touchdowns a week ago. So they're a good offense. What they do not have is a very good offensive line. And so I think for the Browns in this game, it will be critically important to control and dominate that line of scrimmage. And what I take it a step further, the Browns have allowed, on average, 170.5 yards rushing the last 2 games. The Rams are coming off a game in which they ran for 228. That is going to be an issue. That is going to be something that they will attack if the Browns do not shore that up. So that's where they are offensively. Defensively, it's all about Aaron Donald, leads the team in sacks again. He's got 5.5 on the season. They've got a couple people with more than 4. In fact, they've got 4 players with 4 or more sacks on this team. Kobe Turner, the nose tackle, Byron Young, an outside linebacker rookie on one side, Michael Hecht, an outside linebacker on the other side. So they can get after the quarterback a little bit. The Browns, I think the Browns should be able to attack this team. This is not a great defense. There are a lot of new pieces, Ahkello Witherspoon, John Johnson, the former Brown. I think we should be able to get after this defense. If you were to look at their rankings for the year this season, number 18 rushing defense, number 16 overall, number 16 in points per game, giving up 21.3. They only have 5 picks, which is the 3rd fewest in the NFL. They are not great at getting off of the field either. They are in the bottom half of the league in both 3rd down and 4th down conversion. They're at the very bottom half of the league in the red zone, bottom half of the league goal to go. So this is a team that the Browns should be able to get after a little bit.
Yeah, it's one of those teams that's they're kind of in the middle.
They're pretty much middling on everything. They've been very good in the red zone offensively. That's really their only kind of top red zone goal to go. They're 15 of 18 on goal to go, so they're number 7 and 6 respectively there. Other than that, to your point, everything is pretty much 14th to 18th to 20th for the most part, offensively and defensively. Although the one thing they have not done is give up a lot of sacks. Stafford's good at getting rid of the ball. They've only been sacked 22 times. That's the 6th fewest in the NFL.
And they're also kind of stuck in the middle in terms of who they are. Because they've got veteran stars like I mean, Aaron Donald obviously is a first ballot, but there's other guys who are like, if they could stack a few more seasons, if Kupp, Stafford stack some seasons, maybe it's something you can chase down a little bit. And then but because they don't have draft picks, they are not in a situation where losing does them any good. So they have to, they're trying, to win and have culture. They like landing on Puka Nacua is an incredible thing to land on a player like that who's given them what he's given them all season long. And the same thing with Kyron Williams. Like, Kyron Williams back was an absolute game changer for them last week against Arizona. And now all of a sudden, I watched a little of that game. It was on. I had it on the. It was on the red zone quite a bit because there was a lot of scoring in that game. And Stafford spreading it around. It wasn't even Kupp and Nacua who went nuts in the game against Arizona. Like, he's spreading it around. Williams had over 200 and some yards of total offense.
Yeah,
so
caught 6 balls.
All of a sudden, like, offensively, they're an ambitious test for our defense that is a little more banged up than it's ever been.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree with that anymore. And you think about not having draft picks. They got Puka Nacua in the 5th round this year, and they got, I think Kyron was a 5th-round pick a year ago. And Kyron Williams is averaging, on the season, he's averaging, he's got 765 total yards in 7 games. He's averaging over 100 total yards per game. So that's pretty good. In fact, he's averaging 109.3 total yards per game. You've got Puka Nacua, who's had a really nice season. He's their leading receiver. He's got 73 catches for 924 yards and 3 touchdowns already. Atwell's got 36 for 467. Kupp's having a down year a little bit. 50 yards a game, 27 catches, 393, 1 touchdown for Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, he's probably lost a step too.
Puka Nacua 924 though. Wow.
And he had
I know he
started last week.
Yeah, he started really, really strong. He came out of the gate this year 119, 147, 72, 163, 71. Last 4 games, he has not had more than 70 yards in a game. 43, 32, 70, and 27. So he's cooled off a little bit.
Yeah, he certainly has. So this will be a full day. When we were there the last time a couple of years ago, what was the crowd like?
It was packed, and that was a crazy game. I mean, that game was like such a high-scoring offensive video game. Remember?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Crowd definitely a lot of Browns fans.
I mean,
a ton of Browns fans.
It was probably 65-70% Browns fans.
Yeah.
More than half?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because when we came back, Chubb had a couple big touchdowns in the 3rd quarter. It became like a heavyweight slugfest. And he went to the house, and the place, the roof about came off.
So I used to do this thing when I would go on the road with Ohio State, when I used to travel with them every game years ago, and it's probably not something you even do anymore, but I used to, especially I remember this vividly the first time Ohio State played at Maryland, because it was the first Big Ten game that was going to be played at Maryland, and it was Ohio State coming in. So, like, how big of a deal is this in Washington, in the Metro? So I grabbed the Washington Post, and I was looking on the Saturday Washington Post, like, where did it land on the Washington Post? And it was like, I want to say it was 6th page. Like, it was well into the sports section at the Washington Post, which used to be, back in the day when newspapers really mattered. That was a monster newspaper, and still is, obviously.
Paper
but just
of consequence.
the paper, the physical paper itself, the sports section was 15 pages. So you're not doing that now with the LA Times, is my guess. But I guess the reason I asked you about the crowd is they've been there a while. They've won a Super Bowl. Where are they in the town? Like, we know where the Chargers are. They have nothing.
I have not seen, in any of our time moving around here, I haven't seen one Ram hat.
Nope.
One Ram. I've seen nothing.
Now,
no
the place,
indication
to be fair,
that anybody cares.
The places you wouldn't see any NFL team hats.
I've seen people walking around in Browns hats.
Other than our employees?
No, yeah.
In Beverly Hills?
In Beverly Hills. Yeah, last night.
I think
there were definitely not.
I think there's a lot more people. I don't think people went to Denver because it was a Thanksgiving. It was a holiday weekend. I think everybody has circled this trip on the schedule as the one to make. I think there's already people pouring into this town.
Anytime you ask somebody from LA about, like, if this is working, they get very defensive. Like, we have Siciliano on a little bit later, and I think I remember asking him something like this a couple of years ago, And he was like, oh, no, it's a Ramstown and all this. And I'm like, I don't know. And I don't live out there, but I visit out there once a year, and I don't see it. I don't see any big, and that was when they were winning the Super Bowl. I don't see any big clamoring for them. It's like, and yet if you go to those beach towns that you're talking about Venice, if you guys do your trip up to Malibu, you go down to Orange County, like you will see Dodgers hats. You're going to see Lakers stuff. Like that's happening.
I've seen Lakers stuff already.
Well, they run the town, but like Dodgers are probably second. I'm just curious where, if they've been there this long, like is this resonating? Quite frankly, they don't need it to resonate, but you'd probably like it to.
Yes, you would want it. I mean, that's the business, right? Like,
yeah, I don't know how the Chargers are sustainable.
Chargers are definitely below the Rams.
I think the Chargers are below every sports entity in Southern California.
Yeah.
I mean, there might be more Angels fans. Like, just do the whole town, right? Do the whole town. The Chargers might be bottom of the whole town.
Yep.
They're probably behind the NHL teams.
Oh,
the
yeah,
Kings.
the Kings.
Yeah.
And the Ducks.
Yeah. No,
the Ducks have been in Anaheim for 30 years.
But I don't know how far up the pecking list the Rams are.
I mean, my guess is you would hope to be at this point, as long as they've been there and having won a Super Bowl, you'd like to be behind only the Lakers and Dodgers. I don't know if they're behind USC football. I don't know if they're behind whatever else. Are they behind probably not behind the Clippers, but you better be third. If you're the National Football League in Los Angeles, you damn well better be third. Here's the real truth of it. If they were the Raiders, they would be. And they might even be second.
Yes. The Raiders were, I mean, that was obviously our youth. The Raiders were a cultural phenomenon. If it was the Raiders, that's what they needed. That was the one team that made sense to come back here. Because even when the Rams were here, when we were growing up with like Vince Ferragamo and Jim Everett, like they were
Dickerson, yeah.
They paled in comparison to the Raiders. The Raiders were a cultural movement that was adopted by Southern California and obviously NWA. You go back to early hip hop, it was all Raider stuff.
Yes.
The Raiders would be extremely popular here.
Yeah.
They should have sent this. Honest to goodness, you could do it again. Have the Raiders come here. You could have sent
the Chargers. Should have gone
Chargers to Vegas because that's such a destination game that you're going to fill that stadium no matter what.
Kroenke did not want. He was not going to be having the Raiders playing in his building that he's building being the bigger deal.
Of course. Right.
By the
Chargers
way, the number of things that guy owns. I know we've talked about it before, but he owns the Avalanche.
Yep. Oh, he owns the Avs, the Nuggets, Arsenal.
Yeah.
Like the soccer club. Yeah.
He's been on quite the run.
Yeah, he's crushing it. He also owns 3 of the 10 biggest ranches in America. Like historic ranches. Like I'm talking multi-millionaire acre ranches. There's one in Montana he bought. I want to say it's the Broken O that he bought there. So yeah, he's got his hands in everything. It's just the NFL waited so long to get back to Los Angeles, and they're back.
Yeah,
and they delivered right away. They won a Super Bowl in short order, and what do they have to show for it in that city? It's such a fickle town. The weather's great. There's a billion things to do, and there's built-in loyalties forever. And there probably were Rams fans who were 70 from the 70s with Jack Youngblood and all of that. But unless you're of a certain age, you don't have any point of reference on great Rams.
Mm-mm. You wonder if, though, young kids
my
buddy Jacuzzi Ricky was texting me, that young kids who were like, oh, the Rams are here, we're rooting for the Rams, they win a Super Bowl, those kids are now probably Rams fans. Like our generation, there's nobody our age that would live in L.A. that would have any affiliation with the Rams, I wouldn't think.
None. And I do wonder if but those kids, would that same have been true had the Chargers been coached competently? Because their star power is every bit.
Agreed.
They've got all the star power.
Yes, they should be owning the town right now.
Yeah.
They are not.
No, they should be back in San Diego, quite honestly. This is the way that thing should have worked out.
Which is funny because at the dinner the other night
with Chris.
Yeah, Chris's son does a lot of work with the Padres.
Yeah.
And he said that city openly misses the Chargers.
Yeah. Yeah, but they couldn't get
Superchargers.
They needed somebody down there to buy them. They needed the Spanos family to sell them to somebody down there.
Yep.
Sell them to somebody who would then
build their own stadium.
Build their own stadium. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you've looked at land in La Jolla lately. It's not exactly cheap.
No, I'd imagine not.
So it's very difficult to get anything built down there unless you do what Kroenke did, which is buy a racetrack and build it there. That's the way it's got to go. All right, we will go around the sports world, around the football world. Some big news out of Indy coming up next. Also, boy, just keeps the intrigue coming with Aaron Rodgers. We'll get to that.
He's coming.
You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Pet Supplies Plus giving you a chance to win tickets to home games all season long while providing the best deals for your pet at over 75 stores throughout Ohio. Enter to win at clevelandbrowns.com/Pet Supplies Plus. Receive a coupon to use at your local store with your entry. Pet Supplies Plus is a proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. You see this Jonathan Taylor news this morning. Well, we got it yesterday, but then became official. Thumb surgery. By the way, your boy Irsay is now commenting on the length of injury time. He's saying just a couple of weeks.
Well, fortunately, I have Zach Moss in a few leagues, but Jonathan Taylor is finally getting going. Had a couple tutties last week. It was looking good, and then gone again. Very sad. That is big news. But Zach Moss, if he's on your waiver wire, anybody's listening still who's fighting for a playoff spot, he shouldn't be. But I know some people dropped him when Taylor kind of was taking more of a big role. This is the time of year on your bench to have people that are one play away from being fantasy relevant. Injuries add up in the National Football League. Lots of times you win fantasy Super Bowls playing running backs that were not on a roster at the start of the season. That's just the way that it goes. So those are the people, once you get through the bye weeks, and this is the last one where you got 6 teams off, once you get through this week, trim the fat and only add, if there are running backs that you think are talented and are one play away, that's what you want on your bench.
That's good advice out of you right there. Yeah. A Zach Charbonnet could be
yes, absolutely. All right, here, Chris Rose, LA fan power rankings. 1, Lakers by a lot.
Okay.
2, Dodgers.
Yep.
3, USC football when winning.
Okay.
4, the Rams.
Okay.
5, Clippers. 6, Kings. 7, Angels and falling if Shohei leaves. 8, Browns backers. 16th, Chargers.
Dead last. So we had that. Good job. Thank you, Chris. I believe we had that. That's what it feels like.
That's right.
And I think if you're the Rams, that's probably about right.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah. And
that's right.
Just behind USC football if they're winning. Now, I'm curious, he'll give you a text back on this since he's listening. If the Raiders were here, where would they be? Could they climb the Dodgers?
I think they'd be 3.
Would they be able to topple the Dodgers, or would the Dodgers, because of the recent success?
My guy Jim A says no way they would ever get ahead of the Dodgers.
Even a Raiders return wouldn't do it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there you go. That's boots on the ground right there. That's what we need.
Yeah. Boots on the ground who couldn't be more plugged into the sports scene. I mean,
the boots on the ground.
These are the best boots.
Yeah, there's no boots you'd rather have. The Jets opened a 21-day practice window for your boy, Aaron Rodgers.
That's a practice window.
We'll see you on December 28th.
I don't understand it. Like they said, the best case scenario for him was that he could play in a. It's one thing to run around. It's another thing to be twisted and and play football.
He's not playing football. Like, come on.
The original report was that he would play in mid-January. It would be the best case scenario possible.
If he plays, then he did not rupture his Achilles.
He did. He had the surgery.
Come on.
I just don't understand what he would.
What's the point?
He did reiterate yesterday on McAfee. It depends where the Jets are in all of this.
Well, they're not going to be anywhere.
They're not going to be anywhere. That's right.
I don't know. I feel like they're hanging around.
Okay, Gibbe.
Are they Gibbe?
Gibbe.
Why?
Are they Gibbe?
Not if they keep starting the Joker they started on Sunday. What's his name?
Well, what are you going to do without him? What's your other option?
I feel like you hired Zagura's cousin off the bench.
Gibbe, there are 16 teams in the AFC. They are currently in wild card position number 15, only ahead of the New England Patriots. So they are at 4-7. They lose the tiebreakers to current 4-7 teams, the Titans and the Chargers. They're behind the Raiders, who are 5-7. They're a game back of the Bengals. The Bills are 6-6. The Broncos are 6-5. The Texans are 6-5, and none of them are in. They're not leapfrogging all of those teams. The Jets' schedule is home against the Falcons. Maybe they could win that.
Gutless.
Home Texans at Dolphins. They're going to lose 2 of the next 3, which would put them at 5-9, best case scenario, before the Commanders, us, and the Patriots.
Yeah,
3
we're
winnables.
winning 6 games.
In their eyes.
It's crazy.
Look, like, this isn't supposed to be happening now, and it's happening.
Chris says Raiders 2 or 3, probably Dodgers 2, but closer. It would obviously be closer.
So we have a good read on it then. All of our great experience in Southern California pales in comparison to his, but we do have a a pretty good handle on the way that Southern California views its sports. The Vikings activated wide receiver Justin Jefferson from injured reserve yesterday. He was, for many people, the number one fantasy pick this year and has not played much. He's on my team and hasn't played in a month or so, at least 6 weeks.
I wish this was on. Look at this guy. The mighty Cornholio is with us right now.
You like that? It's cold.
It's great. Oh, God. Uno.
Good job at Uno.
Uno. Look at Griff, too.
Yeah, Griff's up. He's got it rolling.
Griff. Griff, how did you feel about yesterday when we got contender pretender for like 25 times?
It was awesome.
Oh, thumbs down.
Thumbs down.
Sad.
Oh, yeah. I got
Griff.
text.
Griff.
He's trying to downplay it, but he loves it.
Of course
He loves it. He's becoming a star. That's all
Yes.
anybody wants is to be a star. He's becoming a star.
Deservedly so.
Shaq Leonard visiting the Cowboys yesterday, visiting the Eagles today. Where would you sign if you were him?
Both of those are pretty good options, honestly. I mean, I would want to go there. I'd ask the 49ers, do you want me to come tag along?
Of those two, where would you go?
I'd go the Eagles. I think they're the better
Dallas
team.
lifestyle's pretty good, though.
Was he interested
Nice
in
lifestyle.
lifestyle, or is he interested in
I
winning
don't know.
the Super Bowl?
I don't know what makes it tick, but I know no state tax. I know being a Cowboy's got to be pretty good in Dallas. That's got to work out for everybody.
But they can't beat anybody good.
I don't know what makes him. You don't know what his why is, though, Gibby. We don't know that.
On Thursday, if they beat the Seahawks, that'll be their first win over a team with a winning record.
There you go. CBS will not have Nance and Romo do a game this weekend. After what are we doing? Now we're doing rest. We're doing minutes.
Now we're managing workload.
We're managing the
we're
minutes
doing.
of play-by-play people.
Yeah.
Why?
So I guess in researching it, they did the Thanksgiving game and they did a Sunday game. So they did 2 games.
Yes.
Now they're off this week. This past weekend, Burkhart and Olsen didn't have a game on Sunday after doing the Thanksgiving game. Collinsworth, unbeknownst to me, was not on Sunday Night Football.
Oh, yeah. It was Jason Garrett.
Oh, no,
It
Jason
was known
Garrett
to me because they said he
yeah.
was taking time with his family.
With his
Meanwhile, Jack Collinsworth was there.
Was working.
Your boy.
Yes. Your boy.
Well, that's because he sucks.
Maybe
don't get a
Chris
hall
doesn't
pass.
like his own kid. I don't need to spend
Beyond-
Thanksgiving with that kid. Send him on the
Beyond
road.
Brand.
I think that's crazy that you'd need a week
What?
off.
It's 20 weeks. Okay, counting
on.
the playoffs, it's 23.
Yeah. What are we
Jeez.
doing?
Come on, man. That's not minutes restrictions on play-by-play. I'm doing 5 hours of radio a day here, kids.
Every day.
Minutes restriction.
You have no
just
restrictions.
Power through. Let's go. One of the more surreal press conferences. David Tepper had it yesterday.
Oh, my God.
It's a scene, man. He's been through 4 coaches down there, and obviously feeling the heat. There was a reporter that asked him if he could fire himself, and then he didn't take questions from him. Like, this is a circus. This whole thing is. And it all centers on around the fact that they went Bryce Young over C.J. Stroud at quarterback. Now, to be fair, most people we had on, Z, and you tell me if you remember it differently, most people we had on were steadfast in Young over Stroud by a margin.
Pundits? Absolutely.
Yes. Draft
absolutely.
pundits.
Yes.
I remember at the Combine asking people about the quarterbacks, and it was Bryce and then a gap to CJ.
Yes. This is why we need to live in the multiverse, and we could have had a scenario where when that played out that Bryce went to Houston and CJ went to Carolina, and you wonder what those things look like right now. I think it's clear CJ Stroud's very talented. I can tell you I talked with somebody, a Panthers player, who did say that Bryce Young is really, former Brown, Bryce Young is really, really talented and a great guy, and they all like him, and just felt kind of like whatever was going on there on the offense was not putting him in great positions to succeed.
Okay. Well, hopefully that is the case. I mean, hopefully it all works out. David Tepper's hoping that. This is from yesterday's presser in Carolina.
No, it's been reported, and we talked about it. Originally, we were going to go to the number 2 pick, and we thought we would get CJ because we thought the Texans were going to pick Bryce. And listen, we preferred Bryce. He was our number 1 pick. We had a lot of conviction. But in answer to your questions, it's just not the way the process was done. The process was done the way the process was done. And again, even though if there was a process with 5 people in the room, and the way the votes came in, it was Frank was the first choice. I always could veto that choice. And even if it was Bryce and the votes came in unanimously in this particular case, I could have vetoed that choice. In both cases, I supported both choices. Okay? I'm just going to say that I supported both choices. I supported the coaches. I supported the scouts, their unanimous opinion. And I supported Frank Reich. So whatever's good, bad, or indifferent is ultimately because the buck stops here, and I take full responsibility for everything. But that's the way the process runs. And just one last thing, and then we're going to go here. As far as Bryce Young is concerned, I cannot say this, for myself, and I think everybody in this building would share this sentiment. We are totally confident in that pick. Okay, I think the people that made that pick first, would be totally confident in that. Some of them you could ask. Okay, and I think and for me, I'm totally confident in agreeing with that pick.
I think anytime you can get an owner in front of the press to relitigate draft picks in the middle of the season, you do it.
It's always good, right? Yeah, that was
like we
wild.
know that you can veto.
Yeah, you're the owner.
So
the Bucs
whatever you want.
literally. That's right. That's the way it works.
Sometimes we have these. We have athletes that we say maybe stay off your phone a little bit. That's not reality. It feels like that's one for him. Like, don't be reading everything all the time, man. Like,
I like that he's trying to give transparency. It just came off odd. Like that didn't. You don't
defensive.
come out of that. You don't come out of that if you were a fan of the Carolina Panthers feeling better about the situation and the direction that things are headed.
No, you feel worser.
You feel worser. Yeah, there's no doubt.
For sure. This from the college football world. Big Noon Kick had more viewers than College Game Day. That's the first time that's happened. 2.338 to 2.325. One caveat to that, and I don't know. I know this impacted the numbers.
I think I know where you're going.
They pushed Kick to 12:15.
Correct.
So what happened is Game Day stopped at noon and had headgear at noon, and that's it. So these ratings, then Big Noon Kick went all the way to 12:15. So they got the first 15 minutes of the Ohio State-Michigan window, which did 19 million viewers.
Yeah.
At
so
noon.
It's a little jockeying. It's funny because
crafty of them.
I don't know if it's when I had left. Maybe I think I was taking my kids back, and I was like, "Why hasn't this game started yet?" I kept refreshing on I'm like, "What's going on?" Yeah,
this is why. So that 15-minute window allows for Big Noon to knock off Game Day because they kept the show an extra 15 minutes and they held Kick until 12:15. That's why they did it.
But I'll say this: I'm really the more I watch that Big Noon Kick, that pregame show is better than Game Day.
It's not. The only thing that they have that's better, they have one thing better than Game Day.
That.
This is all I do, Gibby. They have one thing that they do better than. First of all, they do an hour pregame show versus a 3-hour pregame show, so it's apples and avocados. The other thing is the only thing that they have that Game Day lacks is urban. Like everybody else on the Big Noon show, what are they? No one's out there writing down what Matt Leinart has to say, but they have urban, and ESPN blew that. They had a chance to hire Urban. He was there previously. Yep. They should have. He is amazing at analysis. He's amazing at television. He breaks it down in a way. He's excellent. He's awesome. He's as good at TV as he was at coaching college football, and he was one of the best to ever do that. So that's their one advantage they have. And then they're only previewing one game. They're previewing their one game. Game Day's doing the whole day in college football for 3 hours. It's just a totally different objective, what the two are doing.
What they do is only going to work the way that it did when you have that game. And as you've pointed out, that game is going to be of less consequence going forward with the changes to the playoff.
For sure. Yeah.
I don't know. I think ESPN needs to tweak some of what they do. Now, bringing McAfee was a great addition. I love McAfee on that show. I just, do they need to split it up? Do they need a crew that does like the first hour and then the A team coming in for the final two? It's a long day.
It is
a long day.
And they move people in and out. They do reporting. It's just it's a totally different show. Like they're doing 5-minute feature pieces. That's not something Big Noon does. It's just a totally different thing. I do think it's wild that what has happened in college football. That like if you think about this, like Alabama Auburn did just about 10 million viewers on CBS at 3:30. That is a game between two schools in the state of Alabama. One of which is no good this year, and even Bama's not what they normally are, and somehow did 10 million, and they're doing so while competing with everybody else in the window. Like, can you imagine if Ohio State, Michigan was on like Sunday Night Football is unopposed? It would have done 30 million. I mean, it's competing with everybody else's rivalry game at noon.
Yeah.
So unopposed, you'd get NFL numbers out of Ohio State, Michigan.
Oh yeah. It's still so crazy to me that game is at noon. I know it's
always
traditional, though. Wasn't it not at noon, though, when it
once.
was 1 versus 2?
That's it. It was 3:30.
Yeah, because I remember I was going to a wedding, and I watched it while I was getting ready.
Yeah, the 3:30, it was 3. They did it the one time at 3:30
like
for the 100th meeting.
The fact that this game has never been played under the lights, like, is wild.
Well, when I first got to Columbus in 07, they didn't have lights at the shoe.
True.
They had to bring in remote lights.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. So, all right, be sure to check out the Browns social media channels, especially while we're on the road, to play the Browns digital scratch-off game for your chance to win club seats and other great prizes presented by the Ohio Lottery, the official lottery of your Cleveland Browns. Andrew Siciliano will join us here in the second hour of the program. We will do Guess the Spread as well.
We may do that next.
There you go. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. All right, welcome back into Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland on a first Friday. Cleveland Browns Daily broadcasting live from Buffalo Wild Wings in Brooklyn next Tuesday. You'll be able to see Z there. That's December 5th from 1 to 3. Special guest Kevin Mack will sign autographs from 2 to 3.
I think they're going to see you there.
I
Facebook
believe
page
that there'll be a
to
Bishop sighting
learn
at that one.
More. We'll see. When are you departing there, Gibbe?
I have to leave in about 20 minutes. We do have an SUV for our department.
Oh, well, see? There's a little rental for you, and you're probably commandeering that most times, are you not?
I haven't seen it yet.
No.
Yeah, no. Z will be on a bus at 12:40 or 3:40.
I've never seen, like, you just seem, you're not pleased, like you're in paradise. It's a zip code everyone would want to be in. You were awakened early. It's just not the joy I want to see out of you.
I mean, sometimes they call it the music of angels waking you up.
Oh, gosh. Pretty good. All right, let's do it.
I feel very fortunate. I love being in my house. I love being with my family.
Yeah.
It's
good.
I'd prefer that even with some snow.
It's really nice.
Yeah.
All right, well, here you go, kids. You ready for a little guess the spread, my friend?
And if somebody went on my front yard and was doing that, they would be gone. I would have them off of my front yard.
I do think that
I would have the cops, the Bentleyville PD.
I'll tell you what. The one thing that you said in that I think gets slept on a little bit is both the accuracy and the effectiveness of the blowgun.
I mean, it just feels like everybody should have it.
Just take down one.
Yeah. That's
Send
really
the
where
message.
it's at. That's really where it's at. You know, there's a lot of
Just a trank. We're not trying to harm anybody.
yeah, just trank
Just
them,
a little nap.
Just a little, yeah.
trank them up a little bit. That's all you
This
need.
is not going to stand. Right.
Yeah, no, I think that's it. Get them a little trank, and they end up like Stifler in Old School.
Exactly.
Who gets hurt?
Nobody.
Nobody. That's
Shot
it.
yourself in the neck.
It's amazing. I guess it was Farrell who did it, wasn't it? Stifler
Will
was
Ferrell
also
do it.
shot.
Yeah.
And Stifler
And then
lost
he
his
ends up.
mind.
He ends up in the pool.
Yeah, that happens. All right, Thursday night football. This is a decent one on Thursday night. It is the Seahawks at Dallas to take on the Cowboys. Seahawks
It kicks at
at
5:15
Dallas,
here, which is great.
Yeah.
which is awesome. Yeah, West Coast time rocks in that sense.
Dallas minus 7.5.
Incorrect. Dallas
Oh,
minus
boy.
9.
9.
The early wake up today is going to
Dallas.
screw this up.
That's
Although you're
minus.
1-1. You already got
I'm
the
1-1.
49er
We
game.
got the 49er game. I need to get
Oh, yeah,
the
that's right.
magic number is 7. And we're what? Am I 7-4, 8-3?
Yeah, you're winning. You're dominating.
Yeah.
All right, we're on to Sunday now. The 1 o'clock window Eastern, the 10 a.m. window for you in Southern California. The Indianapolis Colts at the Tennessee Titans. Colts at
Not
Titans.
a bad game.
Colts at Titans.
Colts
Yes.
at Titans.
Colts are going to be favored in my mind, but Tennessee still gets weird Vegas support.
Colts 6-5, Titans 4-7 on the
Levis
foosball
played well.
season.
Levis
Yeah.
played well last week.
Colts minus 2.
Were we within? Yeah, no, incorrect.
Incorrect.
Yeah, incorrect.
What is it?
-1.
What?
-1. -1.
You deviated from your usual plan
Usual
there.
pattern, yeah. The 2 is
Yeah.
what got you. 1.5 is your sweet spot on that.
Yeah, and I was going to go 1.5.
This is what
And then I
happens when you have
changed it to 2,
protesters.
so I thought maybe it could be 2.5.
They're going to protest this.
Protesters at 7 a.m.
right.
and all of a
1
sudden
and
you're
2.
off your equilibrium.
Listen, I still got to get. Come on.
All right, here you go.
Literally
Chargers.
pacing around the hotel room.
Chargers at Patriots. Chargers at Patriots.
Gutless. I'm going to call the Chargers gutless now. 4-7.
They're buffoons too.
Yeah.
Are they? Is there anybody out there like how have they not fired this guy?
I don't even.
Or
think
nobody
they
even covers them.
I don't
Do
think
they have
even
beat
Sports
writers?
Talk rate. I don't think so.
Do they have money to even buy the guy, to pay that guy, and if they bring in Belichick?
Yes, they have an NFL
I don't
team
know
that
if they-
gets $300 million off the top, so they 100% do.
Yes, they do. And he's been there a long time. He can't have that many years left on his contract.
No.
I'm going to go Chargers at New England.
Yep.
Yes.
Chargers. They still get favorable spreads, even though they're not good. Chargers minus 6.5.
Got it. Chargers
Okay.
-6. Chargers -6.
Good thing I didn't say 7. I was thinking 7, but I was like, I don't know. It's not good. I said to myself, it's not going to be 7.5.
Yeah.
So that's why. Okay, good. All right, 2 and 2.
All right.
All right. We're back.
You're even, Steven. We are headed to New Orleans now for Detroit, coming off a home loss on Thanksgiving at the Saints.
I feel like this is a total trap game for the Lions.
They just lost, though, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
but
They
like,
just lost to Green Bay.
So you can't have a trap game after a loss.
Yeah, you can.
Handle your
I don't think
business.
you can. I don't think you can. I don't think you can have a trap
I
game
don't
after a
know.
loss.
The frisky Saints.
I'm surprised they haven't unlocked Jamison Williams more.
Me too.
With the
It's
Lions.
odd.
Really
It's
strange.
odd. What's your person who was right on the money about Laporta say about it?
It's funny. I haven't asked him about that. I need to. The
Yeah,
one thing I do
curious.
remember about Jamison at Ohio State, and I'm wondering if it's the case here, is he wasn't a great practice player.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of why he ended up kind of being passed by Wilson and Olave at Ohio State, even though he was
Sure.
in their class. And then at Alabama, they had to play him. Like they didn't have to hold him behind anybody because they didn't have that type of receiver talent. So I don't know. Maybe he's not practicing well up there. Maybe that's it.
I could see Dan Campbell not liking that.
Yeah.
All right, Lions at Saints.
Yep.
I don't think the Saints are too good for that to be 7. I think. Lions -5.5.
Lions -4.
What?
When you said 7, I was like,
-4.
whoa, you're way off.
Sheesh.
We're going to Jersey.
It looks like it's going to rain here.
Yeah.
Well,
I
We have-
believe
we have blue skies
were-
and cold,
I
but it's,
believe we were in a meeting 2 months ago, and they're like, "It doesn't rain here. They don't have an indoor facility. It's okay. It doesn't rain." And I was like, "Are we sure?"
better make
We
sure.
sure
boys.
about
It rains everywhere.
Rains. Yeah, that's true. It does.
At some point.
All right, so here you go. You've got this is Atlanta at the Jets, where Aaron Rodgers has been cleared to practice. Falcons and Jets.
Atlanta -3.
Nailed it. Exactly. All right,
That's
we
a
are going to
gross
the
game.
Steel City now. Steel
Okay.
City. The
Ugh.
2-10 Cardinals, 0-6 away at Pittsburgh.
Come on, Kyler, help us
Kenny
out.
Pickett with a robust 6 touchdowns to 4 interceptions season so far.
Steelers -3.5.
Steelers -5.5.
What?
Yeah.
They don't score more than 20 points in a game.
No. All right, we're staying at 1 o'clock.
All right,
We
where
are
am I at now?
in-
3 and.
You are 3 and 4. We are in Landover, Maryland.
Okay.
Miami at 8-3. At Commies at 4-8.
Gross.
Miami
at
minus
Commies.
Miami minus 9.5.
Exactly got it.
There we go.
Nailed it. Good job to you.
All right.
Our last 1 o'clock game takes us to
Yeah,
Houston.
these are all 1 o'clocks.
Yeah.
Yeah, NRG Stadium. It is Denver at Houston. 6-5, 6-5.
That's a
This might be the
big
best
one.
game of the 1 o'clock window.
I think it
Yeah, I
is.
think it is. It's the
That
best game
feels
of the
to
1
me
o'clock
like a standard Houston -3.
Got it. Houston -3.5.
Okay.
Game over 500.
All right.
All right,
5-4.
we are now
I
in
feel
the
like
4
they're getting
o'clock
too much.
window.
I feel like they're getting too much respect on that.
They're at
Who,
home.
Denver
but-
or Houston?
Houston.
I think Houston's legit.
I think Denver might be the hottest team in the NFL right now.
How many teams? Well, they are. How many teams? How many quarterbacks in the league are better statistically than Stroud? He's
Not many.
32, 66, 19 touchdowns, 5 picks.
Jeez.
Like who's? It's better that he's better than Mahomes. He's better than Herbert. I mean,
he's been
Dak.
sensational.
He's there with Dak. Dak's better. Dak's 3,000 yards, 23 touchdowns, 6 picks. But it's in the
Dak's been
vicinity.
unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean he's been unbelievable. All right, we're in the 4 o'clock window now.
Yep.
Carolina at Tampa Bay. Carolina
Gross.
at Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay, it's going to be more than 3 because Carolina's so bad. Tampa Bay's not good enough, though, for it to be 7, in my opinion. I'll split the difference. Tampa Bay -5.
Exactly right.
Oh, God.
Exactly right.
All right.
Baker he's having a Baker season, like 64%, 25-88, 17 touchdowns, 7 picks for him there. All right, our game, Browns at just ram it. Browns at ram it.
Rams minus 4.
Got it.
Got it?
Yep. Rams minus 3.5.
Okay. That's it. That's 7 and 5.
Yeah, you're
Right.
just 7 and 4.
7 and 4. Man,
Yeah,
came
so
back
you've
strong,
clinched it.
Gibbe.
All
Now,
right,
wait.
now it's just about
Oh,
burying
yeah.
it. Now you got to bury it.
Yeah, I forgot about you already have the 49ers.
Niners at Eagles we've done.
Yep.
That line stayed 3.
Niners minus 3. Yep.
I'll give you a bonus point if you can be within 2 points on the over-under.
The total?
Yeah.
I like that. 48.
You win. It's 46.5. So you're there. I think over on that, by the way.
Yeah, feels like it. Feels like it.
Feels like every game Philly plays is 34-31.
Yeah.
All right, Sunday Night Football.
Hold on, real quick. Can we talk like the Eagles are the best team in the NFL right now?
I don't think so. I think the Niners
I don't think they are.
Why? Why is that?
the
Because
49ers
3 weeks
are
ago,
healthy.
the 49ers were not.
No, but they
just had
acquired
a lull.
Chase Young, and they're
Just
healthy.
had a lull. Yeah, they're really good. By the way, we didn't. Here's another reason why. Brock Purdy is leading the league. He's completing 70.2% of his passes. That's number one. He's got 19 touchdowns, 6 picks. He's got the number one rating, 112.3, and he's leading the league at 9.4 yards per attempt. So Brock Purdy's the guy who's on the C.J. Stroud trajectory.
He's the guy. Yeah. Do they like just do the right thing and get him a contract?
After 2 years, I mean, there's no. I don't even know if you can.
Yeah, probably not. But like he still can't afford to like live in the Bay Area without a roommate.
They should get. He's gonna get. Remember DPJ? At the end of the year, you get performance bonuses.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, and he's got to be getting some
like
endorsement
DPJ
stuff.
got like $800,000. I want to
Okay.
say.
And he's got to be getting endorsement stuff in the Bay Area, I would think.
Yes, it's
You would
Brock
think.
Purdy.
Yeah, he's got to be getting some stuff done. All right, Sunday Night Football. It is the Chiefs and the Packers on Sunday Night Football at Lambeau.
Where? At Lambeau.
Lambeau.
Cold.
I like this Packers team.
I do the last month.
Now you're back?
I like them. I said it before they played before we played Pittsburgh.
Before they played Detroit,
when I
we
watched
both
that
picked them
game.
to handle it.
We nailed that one. In Lambeau,
Yep.
Chiefs minus 6.5.
Great job out of you. 6. It's 6. One thing about the Chiefs, last week they finally gave it to Pacheco. He had the most
Yep.
touches by far. That's the key. He's the one guy you can trust other than Kelsey. Is
Yeah.
Pacheco. Live with him. Don't worry about the rest of those fools out there on the perimeter. All right, Monday Night Football. Bengals at Jaguars. Boy, this would have been a fun one with Burrow.
Jags minus 10.
Missed this one. Jacksonville minus 8.
By the way, total sidebar on this.
That's a tough number.
Next week, we go back to a Monday Night Football doubleheader.
Who do they got?
Awful. Packers at Giants
Oh, my God.
and Titans at Dolphins. And they both start at the same time. There's no staggered time change.
Oh, they're doing that again?
Why?
Yeah. I don't know why they're both going because one went it was a half-hour difference. Not the case on this one.
Yeah.
Why would you
I don't
compete
get it.
against yourself if you're the mouse?
I don't
I
really
guess
have
total
that.
viewers, but aren't the people who are going to watch the other game would just watch the other one if it wasn't an option? I mean, they're smarter than me. They must have a reason for it. All right, good job, buddy.
I don't know what that reason is.
Hard for me to understand.
Felt good about that. That was good.
Yeah.
Weird. Most of them were pretty much. I was pretty close. There were only a couple that I was off by a few points. Pretty an interesting week, I think, coming up.
Well, I mean, I
scores.
think the ones that you're not doing better than Eagles and Niners.
No, that's the best.
That's the game. There is
Yeah.
that one. The 1 o'clock window, it's not much. It's Broncos Texans. So this will be the second week in a row that the Texans have had to carry the 1 o'clock window. They delivered last week, albeit in a loss to Jacksonville. But there's the rest of this 1 o'clock window is nothing. There's a lot of
Agreed.
bad ball in the 1 o'clock window.
How do we still not know, Gibbe, what's happening December 16th? I thought
I
it had
thought
to be
that-
done 3 weeks out.
I thought that would have come yesterday. I don't know why that didn't come.
What's
Somebody's
what's
gotta
going
know.
what's on the table on the 16th?
We're either playing on Saturday or we're playing Sunday. They're keeping
the-
3 games on that Saturday.
It's the NFL Network annual week before Christmas triple header.
So
Chris
my
Rose has got
guess
to know,
is,
doesn't he? Or Siciliano?
No.
They got to know what's going on.
My guess is that Broncos, Lions, and Steelers, Colts are locks to stay on Saturday, right?
So
Broncos,
it's us
Lions.
against the Bears. The other choices are us and the Bears.
Yep.
Falcons and Panthers. Or Vikings,
Gross.
Bengals.
Gross.
Well, if they want the most attractive game, it's going to be us and the Bears.
Well,
Yes.
and there's a reason why we've played on Saturday the last 5 years.
Because we draw.
Yeah, we rate very well for the NFL Network.
Yeah. So I'm sure that you're going to. Would you guys prefer a Saturday?
I actually would.
Yeah, I would too.
The Saturday, yeah, like availability that week. Like we're done with availability on Thursday.
We would be the 1 o'clock.
I would think we're the early window.
Yeah.
Perfect. I mean, you guys
Even
would have like
better.
a real. You'd have like a real Saturday night and then a Sunday
Off.
fun day.
Yeah,
That'll be Saturday night to celebrate El Boots.
Yeah. There's no
Turns
question.
14 on the 18th.
14.
He's 14 on the 18th.
Yeah.
The great boots.
Living your best life, kid.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, that's it. So I think that's a good chance. And then what is there anything that could happen to us on week 16? Like, is that all up in the air too, or is that
I
locked
guess
in?
we could. No, week 16 is us and the Texans. That's locked.
That's
in
locked.
to Sunday.
That's
Unfortunately,
New Year or Christmas Eve.
Yeah,
Okay, and they have the full Christmas slate on Monday too.
yeah.
Is the way that's going to go.
By the way,
Chris Rose just texted me. I still don't know which games we're getting.
I'm doing the
And
first
he's
game
doing the
that
first
day,
game.
and I
He's
still
doing
don't
the. Well, I think it's going to be a home game for him, so in a way,
know. That'd be
because
great.
that's at our place.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that seems like how that'll go. All right, and then oh boy, I forgot we got the Thursday nighter on the 28th.
I know that's not moving now. The NFL
That's
had to
locked
flex
in.
that out 4 weeks out.
Wow,
We're locked in,
geez.
kids.
I hate this.
It's the
man. I hate
return of
this.
Rodgers.
I hate this season going, the regular season still being played on January 7th. We need to move
Agreed.
the NFL back a week.
Agreed.
NFL needs to start Labor Day. College football is going to move back a week in the next couple
No,
years.
I like having my Labor Day off.
Well,
That's nice, especially
It is.
after
It
like a
is.
full month of August,
It
and
is.
it's a full month.
Yeah. Agreed.
yeah, that's true. All right, Andrew Siciliano is going to join us coming up next. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Browns fans get into the Cleveland Browns Stadium quicker on game day with Express Access presented by Verizon. Enroll for free today to enter through exclusive lanes at each gate. Go to the Tickets tab of the Browns mobile app to learn more. We head out on the Twisted Tea hotline. Great friend of the program, one of Z's partners this year, NFL Network host Andrew Siciliano joining the program now. Hey, Bud, we were having the conversation. The boys are out in your neck of the woods all week long and having the conversation of the NFL team's pecking order in the greater Los Angeles area. Where would you put the Rams and then the Chargers slotting in terms of their importance in Southern California?
I am biased, guys. Hi, because I work for the Rams.
Works for the Rams. That's right.
Yes.
Preseason voice.
I will say it is clearly the Rams.
Yes.
I actually do think that. To be quite honest with you, I think the Chargers are clearly the second team here. You could argue that there are as many holdover Raider fans from their days in the 80s and just California Raider fans in general than there are Charger fans in this town. The Chargers, to their credit, have an exciting young quarterback. They've done a great job marketing, and they're certainly on the up and up. But, you know, the Rams have gone to 2 Super Bowls since they've come back here. They've won a Super Bowl. They, in my eyes, have more fans. You know, the Chargers thing is interesting in that, you know, we didn't have a team here for 20 years. You know, Rams packed up, left, you know, went Coliseum, then Anaheim, and then St. Louis in 95. And then the Raiders went back to the Bay Area. We didn't have a team here for like 20 years. And the Chargers had a golden opportunity because of the NFL's archaic 75-mile radius TV rules and all that. They kind of controlled CBS 2 LA with blackout rules and without going too much into the geography of Southern California. The Chargers were kind of treated as the home team on CBS 2 Los Angeles here, even though they're not that close. It's a 2-hour drive on a good day. And they didn't really win over L.A. There was a year in which they moved up to Carson, which is 80% of the way up to L.A., to do training camp, and not a lot of people came. They tried hard, but when we had no team here, that's when fantasy football blew up. That's when Sunday Ticket blew up. And no one felt the need to latch on to the Chargers, other than people that moved from San Diego that lived up here. Those are really their only fans.
How about in the greater sports lexicon? Throw the Dodgers and the Lakers and everything else in it. Where do they stand there now?
I mean, Dodgers and Lakers are clearly 1 and 2. It depends on who you're talking to, and it depends on the time of the year. Those are the top 2, period, full stop, end of conversation. That's it. The Kings have won Stanley Cups. They're a big deal. A lot of the Kings live in the beach communities where I live, so they're a little bit of a bigger deal here, but they certainly get great crowds. The Clippers are the Clippers. They have their fan base. The Angels are the Angels. It's an Orange County thing. You know, I'll say this about Southern California. It is a massive region, and we go to a lot of games, period. Like, I mean, we put 9 to 10 million, more than 10 million between the 3 baseball teams, including San Diego, in the seats every summer.
Wow.
Then the football. Then, you know, we have 2 major college football teams that play 10 miles apart from each other, not even 7 miles apart from each other. Well, 10. At the Coliseum and the Rose Bowl every Saturday. So, I mean, there's a lot here.
Yeah. I mean, those are Big Ten powers, Andrew. UCLA
yeah,
and USC.
Now they're Big Ten
powers.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, can't wait for, like, Rutgers, which still doesn't feel right in the Big Ten, to play a women's basketball game at Pauley Pavilion on a Tuesday, and then take a red-eye back home to Newark and then have those kids in class bright and early the next morning.
I'll tell you what, Newark, at least it's a good airport, brother. At least it's an easy airport.
It's a great airport.
I mean,
yes,
you imagine Iowa City?
No, that I cannot. I mean, especially for yours truly, the United devotee, yes, Newark is a good airport. For everyone else, it's all.
Yeah.
Andrew, so do we have to go with a split jersey situation on Sunday for you?
Funny you ask.
Rams,
No, I'm not
Browns?
going to do that.
No.
My folks are coming out. My dad's from Cleveland, as everyone knows or may not know or couldn't care less. But my dad's a Cleveland guy, and hence I'm a Browns fan, as you guys do know.
Yeah, of course.
And my parents are coming out.
Awesome.
My parents are coming out, so they're going to be at the game. They're coming out on Friday, and because I work for the Rams and they're kind of like family. My parents will be sitting with some Rams people. But that's only because those are the best seats I could get them through them. So I told them they have to be respectful and they can't make too much noise. Consider their hosts, but my hosts understand. So they'll be okay. My dad shouldn't hopefully pick any fights.
That's fantastic. So when my dad came to Cleveland for the NBA Finals, the year that the Warriors did beat the Cavs, I told him that he could not wear his Warriors shirt there, so he wore it under a Cavs shirt. And when they won, Mo Spates was looking up in our direction. My dad lifted up his Cavs shirt, and he had a Warriors shirt.
Oh, my God.
And he pointed at my dad, and then he was the happiest guy.
Oh, my God. That's
what
amazing.
A heel turn.
Well, your dad, I'm sure you told the story, Nathan. If I'm talking out of school, I apologize. Your dad was out there. Yeah, when the Browns beat the Niners, obviously, and you or I were on the call, and I know Dad was conflicted in the stands on that one.
He was not conflicted.
He was not, in fact. We put him on trial, Andrew.
He was very little conflict for my father.
No, seriously, the people at the Rams are some of my best friends. So my dad's good. My parents are going to be sitting in a suite with a bunch of Rams people, and they know
awesome.
that to be respectful, but at the same time, they also love my parents, and so everyone's cool. Yeah. We're all friends. Everyone's friends this week. That's the big one.
There you go. That is the big one. All right, about the game, taking a little bit of a serious look at it. We still don't know yet the state, and we'll hear from Kevin Stefanski around 3:30 Eastern what's going to happen, maybe at the quarterback position. Hopefully we'll get some clarity. But on the other side, the Rams coming off of a very impressive win. Matt Stafford clearly still has it. It's weird, though, 4 of their 5 wins in division. Outside of the division, they have not been very good. What do you make of this team? Because it's one that we weren't sure if they were going to kind of throw in the towel at some point, but now it kind of feels like they're a little frisky. What do you make of this Rams team?
I would say that without the Matthew Stafford injury, which clearly cost them the game at Green Bay, Brett Rippon was not the thing, hence the Carson Wentz signing a week later. And by the way, brief aside, can you imagine the market Carson Wentz might have had if he had waited a week?
Oh, gosh.
Because within a week, Burrow and Deshaun are both hurt. I'm not saying that the Browns nor the Bengals wanted him, but you never know. It certainly would have made the market more interesting. Anyway,
For sure.
I digress. With Matthew Stafford or even Carson Wentz, they would have beaten Green Bay. I'm pretty convinced of it, and this would be a 6-5 team, but not a 5-6 team. They are exceeding expectations outside of their building, inside their building. They thought this was going to be a good team if they could keep Matthew upright and healthy, and they rebuilt the offensive line. In the offseason, they got away from a lot of the outside zone, went to more of a gap scheme, a power running scheme. They have 2 new guards, and Steve Avila, the second-round pick, who's awesome from TCU, and with Kevin Dotson, the former Steeler, at right guard. They are a heavier, more physical, middle-run football team these days, and Matthew is still a magician. I mean, yep. He still can put the ball in places that most quarterbacks cannot. Everyone's going nuts about that throw Brock Purdy made into quadruple coverage late in the game against the Seahawks on Thanksgiving night. I think Darren Orlovsky did a 3-minute video in which he's salivating over the screen earlier this morning. It was an amazing throw. Matthew does that almost every week, a throw like that. So he has a ridiculous arm arrogance, and right now they are playing well.
I like
Andrew,
arm
when
arrogance.
I like that's great. When did you? Was it in camp? Was there a moment when you kind of realized that they had something with Kyren Williams?
It was really last year in camp, although he didn't do a lot in camp. And it was not, how do I phrase this? It was not anything he really did on the field because the guys had trouble staying healthy. All throughout last year's training camp, Sean was adamant that Kyren Williams was going to be the guy, but he got hurt. And then he had to stick with Darrell Henderson and why am I drawing a blank? Cam Akers.
Yep.
And Kyren was supposed to be the guy, and then he got hurt again at the end of camp after he came back and got healthy, and he never was the guy. And then this year, they started with Cam, and then they traded Cam, and then finally Kyren's healthy. Sean has wanted Kyren Williams to be the guy for 2 years, and the guy we saw with 200 yards from scrimmage is Kyren. He is the guy. I don't know if he's going to be that guy every week, but Sean has been waiting for that moment that finally came last week.
Yeah, he was rather impressive. I think 209 total yards, the 2 touchdowns. Puka Nakua's probably going to go over 1,000 yards, potentially even in this game, although he's cooled off recently. My question for you is about Cooper Kupp, though. It just feels like even watching him, he's not quite all the way back, even though he's back. Is that fair? Is that your sense of it as well?
I think it's fair. I think the first couple of games when he came back, he was himself. Then he tweaked that ankle again 2 weeks ago, and he hasn't truly been the same. You know, the thing here, guys, is Cooper Kupp back? Not to shoot down the question, but
Yep.
is the offense in a funk when both he and Puka are on the field at the same time? I know that sounds odd. You would want more weapons, not fewer weapons, to be a better team. But that's the conversation people have here right now. Well, wait a minute. Is Matthew forcing the ball to Cooper? Is the offense out of rhythm because they're both on the field? Because without Cooper Kupp there for a month or 6 weeks, whatever it was, Puka Nacua came on. And Puka Nacua became the guy. And, you know, the guy that was getting 175 a day.
Yeah.
So that's the goal for this team, is to get back to the rhythm and get back to their best selves when they are both on the field. First world problem.
Yeah, for sure. So, and I don't watch them every week the way that you do. The redundancy in the two of them, and that they both are in the places they both want to be in the same spot, or they both fit Stafford's eye, or do you think it's a matter of forcing it to one or the other? What is the reason for that conversation?
It might be forcing it to one or the other. There's a bit of redundancy, but not really. I mean, Puka Nacua is kind of playing the Robert Woods role in this offense, a guy that's going to go in motion a lot and dig out linebackers in the run game. The Rams are running a lot of stuff this year that they haven't run in years past. It used to be you send that guy in motion and you help set the edge, right? You take out a backer. Now Puka's coming in motion and he's blocking in the A gap, right? I mean, they're running duo with Puka Nacua as the extra blocker in motion. They're doing really creative stuff, and he's invaluable. As for the pass game, you'd have to ask Matthew that one. But I tell you, Stafford's moving around well. Again, the whole thing is protecting him. If they can protect him, this offense is going to click.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing. On the other side, what's this defense? It's 4 guys with 4 or more sacks. Obviously, Aaron Donald is the straw that stirs the drink. First ballot Hall of Famer. How do you make sense of them? They're not really taking the ball away, which for the Browns is good because the Browns unfortunately have given the ball away too much. But what's kind of the scouting report on this defense?
So obviously, it all starts and ends with Aaron, who is going to get upfield. Is going to get after the quarterback. Is going to be disruptive in the run game. It's the pieces around him that are now starting to play some of their better football. Kobe Turner, third-round pick out of Wake, had a couple of sacks last week. That was kind of his breakout game. He was the star of camp early, and then he kind of got quiet, and now he's coming around. Byron Young is, I would say, one of the defensive rookies throughout the league that he's not getting the attention he deserves. It's not maybe the sack numbers, it's the pressure numbers. Look at those. And a couple of TFLs as well. Byron Young, number 0, is the guy that I would watch. They are young at corner. That is an issue, and they can be exploited at times. I mean, the Akello Witherspoon is their most experienced corner, the former Steeler, the journeyman who was going to go to medical school before the Rams called him last year. He was kind of sort of done with football. And I think they're vulnerable at safety as well. Quentin Lake, who's been more of a dime backer, is a big question mark this week. JJ3, obviously an old friend of the Browns, is back there. It took him a while, I think, to get into shape. He wasn't necessarily in football shape when he came in late in camp. The secondary, you can make plays on the secondary. I think the question is who's going to be throwing the football to make those plays.
All right, well, let's ask you, how do you kind of see this scenario? It feels, DTR going in the protocol on Sunday makes it seem like that would be unlikely. So is this, in your mind, is it Flacco time?
I'll ask you, is it Flacco or do you go with P.J. Walker? I'd rather kind of sort of go with Flacco and
I think you have to, right?
What happens. And I say that with all due respect and with many thanks and a lot of gratitude for P.J. Walker and what he did in October.
That's right. He gave us some great moments in Niners and Indianapolis.
Yeah, listen, I love P.J. Walker. The story of this season cannot be written without P.J. Walker.
Without him, 100%.
I'm kind of curious what Joe Flacco brings you. All the while realize realizing he's 38 and was on a couch in Philly 2 weeks ago.
Here's
Andrew,
the crazy thing,
Go ahead,
too,
go
is if he does start, if Joe Flacco starts, and this is my 11th season, so we've been here for quite some time, seen a lot of things, as you well know, Andrew. This would be the first year, I'm guessing it might be ever, but I'll look into that. It's the first time in 11 years, though, that we would start 4 different quarterbacks. We've had 4 more play. The one year Charlie Whitehurst played a few snaps in relief, but we have not had 4 different starting quarterbacks.
Listen, I keep saying that the team that makes it to Vegas is the team with the healthy quarterback. But when I say that, I realize that I'm cutting the Browns out of it. The Browns still very much have a shot, and I keep saying, why can't they get there with Joe Flacco? Why or DTR? And yeah, there's a lot of crossing your fingers and saying your prayers here. I'm not saying that DTR is going to morph into Brock Purdy, but the Brock Purdy story from last year should give any team, and you know what? That even includes Gardner Minshew's Indianapolis Colts, and I mean that, hope that they can go on a run. The Browns are a better team than the Colts, period. They have a far better chance than the Colts, period. So why can't they with one of those 2 quarterbacks? It would be an amazing story. I still think they can do it, but you can't overlook this Rams team, and I'm not just being a homer. They are a decent team. They are a good team, and they wanted to play meaningful games in December. That's kind of been, the organizational mantra. They won't say that out loud because that would suggest that they don't have high expectations overall, but that's kind of been the internal conversation. They have it now. They have a meaningful game here in December. The Vikings lost on Monday night. They're 6-6. So, this one means a lot for both teams.
Absolutely does. Great talking to you, my friend. Thanks for your time.
Yeah.
As always, guys. Nathan, thanks for calling, buddy.
Let's go, baby. Let's go.
Andrew Siciliano right there, the Twisted Tea Hotline. Congratulations to our 2023 Browns Fan of the Year, Kathy Erb. Kathy was a retired elementary school PE teacher. Surprised her with a tour of the practice facility where she met Batonio and Joe Thomas, the great Hoff. We're excited to send Kathy to the Super Bowl. She represents the Browns for a chance to be named the NFL's Ultimate Fan of the Year. Head to clevelandbrowns.com/Fan of the Year 2024 to learn more. So much more to come. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland.
The holiday.
Ken and Z and Gerard and Jerome Ford tonight. The Browns preview show 7 to 8 Eastern all along the University Hospital's Cleveland Browns radio network. The question is, will you be done with practice by then?
Yeah, so it looks like practice is going to be around 1:40 to, I think, around 3-ish, and then we'll be on
4:40 to 6.
And then we'll be on that. I guess Gibbe's roped me into doing the preview show and the coaches show this week.
I mean,
I'm here. Why not?
Knock it out.
Knock it out. What else do you do?
You got nothing. There's nothing else to do in Southern California. Nothing to do out there.
No, not at all.
Enjoy UCLA, buddy.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to report back and see how it's going.
Here, do me a favor. I think your number one goal ought to be to get a shot up at Poly Pavilion.
Okay, I like that.
I want a shot up. I want you to sneak in there, just walk emphatically. Usually if you do that, people won't stop you. Just walk emphatically, see if you can get a ball and get a shot up.
Okay, I'm going to do it. Just walk in and just put it up.
Just see if you can get it done. All right, buddy. Look forward to it tomorrow, the full report on everything. The next level is next. Enjoy your first Friday, kids. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland.